Welcome back to US Go Congress games. Today we're gonna look at one of my games, also in the round two. We're doing two rounds, two games from each round to start, and then we may do more if these go very, very well. We've seen the top players, and we've seen one of the top players fall as well. So now the triple the triple pillars of the tournament can't be touched. One is the very crafty player who is right up on all the very good at judgment of values, exchanges, and everything. We had the super attacker who is Wang Yuanjun, and then we had the brick wall, which is the Korean amateur player Ang. Super nice, and they had very distinct play styles. It's time to go down to us mortals, and today we're looking at one of my games in the second round. This is me. My opponent is Liu Tianqu from local Texas. He's the Texas champion for a couple of years. He has a very high AGA rating at like 7.8 something beforehand. So I was very I was trying to bring my A game. Now this is the second game, and we figured out the room conditions, the AC. The first day I woke up at 4 o'clock and I woke up in the Antarctica, and it was so nice, it was so cold and everything. This day I rested and still woke up early, but I felt much better than the first day. And during the game, I decidedly went for a relatively solid play style. You guys know me. A solid play is the last thing you would describe the Chen. The last thing I am is solid. So by deciding to go for this, I don't know. I just felt it felt really good to play this more solid style. So the first solidness was here, choosing this Joseki. Well, the first Joseki was chosen by white, the double Hane Joseki, and then I went for super solid small knight's move, close the corner, chose the most solid safe thing over here. White plays the second line two-space extension. Afterwards, he said he knew this was one of the AI moves and that he should play here. At the time, it felt like, especially since we played the c6, it felt a little bit slow, but it was only less than half a point worse from the AI point, so it was totally fine. When I played this J3 move, this was what I do usually. This is really attacking the one stone. There's nothing else that's majorly big on the board now. So, okay, another peep. And here was the first risk I took in the game. But it's not a risk in terms of like going for some attack and have it go wrong. This is just like an invasion. This is not so risky, even though it looks like a very big invasion. So in the game, this happened, and it lost a little bit. White was supposed to connect. Hard to say where white should have played. I remember. White should have there are like 10-15 different moves white could have played. White picked the turn, which was fine, and but noticeably it did not exchange the connect from the top. For example, if white connected on the top, if black played here, white would not turn, white would play somewhere else. If black played the headbutting moves, then white would turn, but then again, maybe white would jump. Anyways, it was a very good asking move. White turned, so it was my turn to ask white, and white's responses here, it felt really over-concentrated to me at the time, but in hindsight with AI, it was totally the right move. So I was totally wrong in what I thought, and that's okay. Extend down here. really did not want to play this one where it's a little it's a little slow again. When white jumped, I played this one. This was a real one risky move I played. You guys know my stuff. In Go, the most important thing is to do sustainable development. This was the first and one of the only moves in the game where it had very little of that. The shoulder hit knight's move is clearly a good move. It's not a bad move because it's attacking and it's kind of saving the one stone, but it does not surround much like sure territory, and it doesn't strengthen much stones very much. So when white swung over here, it was my turn to go for more efficiency now. I played this knight's move. There was a little bit of weakness in my shape. It was hard to figure out how to attach and cut and stuff. So white went for strengthening first and then wait to attack, which is very, very reasonable. Now I went for a peep. So this was this was similar. These are attacking moves, but anyways, from this moment on, every one of my moves I would make sure that they had a lot of valueness to them. Of course, the fighting moves, of course, is fighting moves. In the game, white played the headbutting move. I just extended up to go for the fight. And here, white kind of chickens out a little bit. I was thinking about these kinds of variations and how white would exchange with the left and then survive on the bottom. This was what I was most afraid of, which is what made me really hesitant to go for this fight in the first place. So when white played the attach, it was a very big relief for me. And it was a relief because in the responses to these attaches, I was able to cash in some territory value. And when white played this one, so now I'm no longer very afraid of the previous diagram where white exchanges, because I've already taken some value on the left by playing c8. It was a kind of like my way of putting extra pressure on white by getting more, and sort of white put the pressure on himself as well. So in the game, white would go for the complicated fight, and the move, the press, I was gonna cut, so this was not gonna work. So white has to connect, and then I was able to push. If white allows black to build some more strengths, this would be very difficult for white to fight in the future. But white played a very good move now to sort of get the head, sort of win the arm wrestling contest and force me to jump like this. This way white sort of forced me down. But the problem for white, the good thing for black for me is I was able to play A and B, two moves that did have and did hold a lot of value. And so these two, I already cashed in some of the attacking advantages, and now I was able to afford to play just very thick and solid moves, kind of taking a page from the Korean amateur player on how solid he is, and play this move. This move fixes the problems with the push and cuts, and so this is black can always push and then Atari. Because of this Atari, this fixes all of black's problems on the left. So it's a very, very valuable thick move. So after this, this move is also very valuable in terms of sustainable development, so it was very nice. However, this does allow white to press, and this would be kind of like the last test for me. Black is ahead a little bit because of all the value gotten, while the fighting was going on. Best shape for the bottom would look like this, but in the game I decidedly went for a kind of a weird looking knight's move shape here, and it did expose a little bit of problem in my shape. For example, something like this, white is going to be able to get some safety. Unfortunately, some safety, And so white did not really didn't like that, so white played the extend. The next move, the diagonal move, is another harassment attack. This would be very problematic. Um, but white had to counterattack very effectively. It's very difficult to see how exactly. In the game, white played the peep, which is totally reasonable. I would have played that too, and then the attach. I think the most complicated is something like this. Um, I'm not totally sure. I was gonna go for this. This is why I attached. I think the only problem is if this happens, um, that's actually good for black. Maybe this happens, and then white is able to damage the outside and then go back to live. I think this is what white's strongest play is, and that cuts into black's advantage a lot. In the game white plays here, it looks very, very good. Like, I'm not surviving, I'm not just surviving, I'm counterattacking. It looks very, very aggressive and like very efficient and everything, but this was actually not as far as white needed to go. So this one little bit, and it's just a case where white understood what he wanted to do. He just was a small step, half a step a little too slow, or the step was a little small. And the problem is the problem was compounded when white white still needed to do this counter attack that was in his mind, it felt like. And so that made white play the next couple of moves like this to try to break out. And this was what really destroyed white's chances in this game. This extend is sente, and white fixed the cut. The cut was this move, and then push and cut. A very deceptively simple cut. So white had to fix the cut by losing 2 stones down here, and now white is in a very, very bad position. And the next attacks was all, we didn't try to surround. Everything was geared towards development, making thickness and everything. We even extended down to the second line. It was very, very nice. It felt like we were playing really, really well. Of course, we had a good position, so it's hard not to play well. But and at the end here, we did a lot of calculations. This was imperfect, but the price white paid to cut us was that later on black has this Atari and capture of the 4 stones. So and for white cannot play here for the throw-in. So even though white really did some damage to black, it was just not enough, and black retains the lead. Yeah, so even though white survived with the bottom group and connected back to the white corner, black was able to take because black lived on the bottom by strengthening of the weakest attacking stones, and black strengthened the outside, which is the other weak attacking stone. And got sente. Black just had too much development on the rest of the board, and at the end of it, at this point, it was all over. So even though white got the first move here, white was supposed to capture the 4 black stones somehow. If this happened, it would have been black winning by 10. Of course, white could not get all of this. White could probably survive with 2 eyes, but it was here when I think this was the last moment for white to play here and give up even more stones. And of course, white could not accept that attacking black's shape resulted in losing 8 stones and 20 points. And so white ended up connecting, and the last ditch effort is in the corner. No problems doing this reading, and this was like almost a perfect victory by black. We forced white to say at the end, please capture me, I'm losing the game, please give me a chance. Anyways, so these are the first 2 rounds, and at the end of this, 2 players are on, 8 players or so are undefeated, 7 maybe are undefeated, and the next rounds we're gonna see the professionals play against the other professionals, and the fireworks are gonna come into play. We already saw one professional fall, and tomorrow on round 3 there's gonna be a lot more. See you guys in the next one, and take care. Leave a comment about which games you would like to see eJournal is the broadcast. All right, see you guys.